Right, hello. I think I'm going to do a blog representing New Year. 2010 is nearly upon us. New Year, I'm not going out as far as I know of. Sometimes I don't, sometimes I do. If we have a disco, me and my dad, normally we do that at New Year. But this year and the last 2 years, we haven't had any, so I'm practically going to be not going out this year as far as I know of. So that's pretty much, you know. And I'd like to talk about end of a decade and year and things like that, you know, because it is the end of the decade. The noughties is pretty much upon us to end. I can't really say too much about it because I don't know what is what, you know, in terms of, say, programs and things that have basic program TV or whatever. I know what's been out, but I just don't quite know if some of the programs I think of were started in the noughties. But what I can say is, for musically, it's been an interesting thing about the noughties. There's been some very interesting concepts, styles and music that have come out, you know, that pretty much embraced the whole sort of the noughties thing. And people will often ask me about what's my favourite songs of the noughties and things like that. Well, it's hard to pick. It's quite tough. But what I can say is that there's been a couple of bands out in the noughties that have really shone to me, that I've absolutely loved. One being the Kaiser Chiefs, I've Licked the Right, which is one of my favourite songs of the decade. There's Nickelback, Far Away. That's another one in there, inclined for being some of the best songs of the decade. There's Westlife, Unbreakable, and things like that. But what we're going to do is I'm going to think about the end of the decade and whether or not I can share you my thoughts on pretty much some of the best bands, artists, music, you know, TV programs and things of the decade, and do a blog about it. I'm not going to do a blog on the end of 2009. That's a bit relevant. I don't know whether I should, but so I'm going to do it here in the quick mode. 2009 has been a very interesting year. Sadly, it's been a year of no job. I want to talk about that on something separate because it's something that really pisses me off in quite a big way. And another thing is practically the death of Michael Jackson. Very sad indeed. I don't think you can get anything as partly as big as that for 2009. But the two things that the two things that I'd like to mention for 2009 is my two personal favourite albums of the year. First of all, Sound of the Universe by Depeche Mode. 30 years they have been roughly going in music, and they still continue to have by far some of the greatest music ever released in pretty much, you know, in music. You know, they've really done it. And it's like another milestone for another album, 21st Century Breakdown by great Green Day. Fantastic band. And again, it's almost like 20 years ago when Green Day were unknown, and then they sort of, you know, it would be like thinking this band are going to really do it, you know. And they had albums like Ducky, they had other albums out that sold, but they weren't commercially successful until literally American Idiot came out and everybody was like, this is where they've really got to, you know. And it's hard because a lot of people say they're sold out, that they've got popular now and they're sold out, but I don't think so, because if you can create a band and have more and more fans than what you probably did with, say, previously, then what's the problem? What's the problem having that many fans? Because it's showing that people are interested in that band, rather than just thinking they're selling out because they had that little niche of fans. You see what I mean? It's like having something like, it's like being in a band and having something like a couple of hundred, you know, a couple of thousand fans that probably go and support them all around the world, and you think that's that little niche, that's that little band, you know, independent record label that they on, and then all of a sudden they seem to get massive, and then you've got like millions of fans. People do say they sell out. I don't believe that for one single bit. It's pretty stupid why people think like that. So that's basically it. So 2009 has been one of them interesting years and so on. It's been some ups and downs, and we've had the end of the decade, which I should hopefully talk about a bit more into another blog, and then of course New Year, which is coming upon us, which I don't believe I'm doing anything yet, but maybe my cousin might ask me and Mum to go around, because my dad's going out with a friend he knows who's doing disco, so it'll be out. But my cousin might just say to me and Mum, if we want to come out, you know, and he can pick us up, and he can't drink if he wants to bring us home, so that's one of the downfalls of practically going out, you know. But that's it, really. That's just a blog that I've a little rant that I have going on. I'm going to talk about various other things in the next few days and weeks. You have to stay tuned for that interesting and for that a bit different to your ordinary straightforward talker ones. We've already mentioned that on a previous blog, as you may well know. So it's all a very you know, it's one of those things, I think. But anyway, that's it for now. So ciao.